Welcome to the Fashionista Life podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer Johnson. If you find yourself here, it may mean that you're looking for courage, clarity, or confidence in some part of your life. I interview experts in business, fashion, and life each week and share strategies for success, motivation, and mindset. If you want to learn more about the Fashionista Life and how I can help you grow your business as an extension of yourself and help transform you into a confident entrepreneur, check out my website at thefashionistalife.com or join my private Facebook group, Clear Confident Female Entrepreneur. Let's get started. Today, we welcome back into the studio Tiffany Wachtler. Oh, I got it right, Tiffany. She is the owner and founder of the Kindness Concierge, which you guys are going to be blown away when you hear what it is. But her business helps people by sending comforting care packages to brighten their day. And I've seen some of them online. I think they're just beautiful.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I really want to talk about today. We've known each other, like we said in the last podcast, for a long time. You were part of my wedding, a long time ago. we were
Couple seconds.
we were beauty queens together. We were pageant queens together, and
Yeah.
that's how we met. And didn't we have the saying peas and carrots? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yes. We
We're like
did.
peas
We
and
did.
carrots. I love it. I didn't forget that. We have plenty of pictures together of us in Houston, Texas, that hot summer. I remember.
Oh, that was
And
an adventure.
it was. And you have grown in insurmountable ways. I've watched your journey, and you were in nonprofits and going through the grief journey, and now you went back to school to be a grief counselor, and you've got this fabulous business. I just want to get into the weeds here. I want to find out, number one, you started it from scratch, from the inception of the idea to actually creating it. I want to go through that journey with you. It sounds so inspirational. And I think a lot of people who are listening to this may have an idea for a business, but they can't take that next step for whatever reason. And I feel like maybe, you can shed some light on it and inspire.
I love that. Yeah, I think through my nonprofit work, I always have had a sense of community and how do you help people beyond yourself? What's bigger than yourself? And I was starting to think after losing my mom about how people showed up for me and how they did the most remarkable, kind things that that made such an impact on my journey. And I thought, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book to tell people how to show up. I'm going to give them lots of examples. I'm going to pull all these wonderful things I've seen in my life. And then I found myself stalling a little bit with that. And what started to happen was I felt like there was a need and I could be the person. Like I could be the person to help people in a service way. So I started to visualize actual, what does that look like? And how does a book become a business? Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's a natural path for that in my heart, but it really became as something where I thought like, all right, well, let's just break it down into pieces. Like what are the most important components that feel like my core values are being lived out in this work? And so I started there, and I started with empathy and kindness being important to me, and how could I offer that to people in a tangible way? And I remember those people in my life who didn't show up when my mom died, and I felt such absence. I just felt like, where is this person? And now, years later, I have so much grace because now I know some of those people wanted to do things. They just didn't know how, and they didn't want to do it wrong. They didn't want to add to my pain. And so I really wanted to create a business that serves those people who are stuck but have such compassion and want to be there and are uncomfortable, because I'm great in the uncomfortable. I love finding ways to show up for people. So I really think starting the consultation portion of the business, we're like, okay, we're going to consult people, give them these kind conversations to help them. And then thinking, not everyone wants to talk to me and tell me all their business. Maybe they could also have a care package they could just send, and maybe I help craft the card or a greeting card where they don't know the message, but we help work together to find the right message. So it really started from like the core of who I was, and then picking one focus, which was the consultation piece, and then letting it just evolve a little bit more to serve more people. And so, yeah, that's how it started. And then I really try to connect with more people, experts and mentors and fellow women entrepreneurs, and just try and learn from them.
So it all started with the consultation part. You're still doing that? or are
Yes,
you?
the consultation is a big piece of it where people have the option. And because every situation is unique, and my care packages, I love them. They're like a hug in a box. They're the
Mhm.
best little self care little nugget, but that's not going to fit everyone's life. So the consultation allows me to personalize it. What makes sense for you? What makes sense in your situation and for your relationship? So
Mhm.
just to get it a little more personal.
Do you ever do the care box? If somebody gifts someone the care box and, a conversation with you, is that an option?
Yes. And sometimes they want it to be very layered. And the other thing we try to do is how can we show up for this person a month from now? Because if you
Mm,
have a big life event, people swarm and are fabulous. And then they have to resend back into their lives
right.
and you're still digging through it. And so a lot of times people will start with the care package and then circle back and say, like, what can I do for this person now? Because I know this journey continues for them. So I
Mhm.
try to find other ways they can show up continually.
I love that idea. Have you thought of doing like a not I wanna say subscription because it kind of would be, where
Yeah.
I send it to you today, and then I'm going to have you automatically send one in 3 months because like you said, you have this big life event and then everybody converges at once, and then the dust settles, and then
Right.
you're there.
Right. Yes, I have thought of that. Right now, we automatically send everyone a follow-up card, and then I reach out to them and say, it's been a month. Let's help this person feel seen today.
Mhm,
But I think that's a great idea. I think it would be wonderful to be able to have something that just kind of shows up at your door and lets people
mhm,
know that you're still on my mind. I'm still thinking of you, and I know this is still not easy.
right. So, I know in the last podcast we talked about that nudge, but what was that final nudge that said, "All right, I need to just move forward with this. I got to let go of any thoughts that, oh my gosh, I can't do this, or I don't know how to do this, or I'm scared." What pushed you past that point? Because we all have that, whether we've been in business, for 25 plus years or for 2 months. We've all had that, oh, this moment, oh, I don't know. I don't know. What should I do? What pushed
Right.
you past that? And then what made you actually execute the plan and how did you go about, you know, putting all the pieces together?
Right. I feel like my first step was to talk to people about it and to breathe it into existence because I
Mm,
think what ended up happening is that I had more voices championing me than deterring me. And so I,
mhm,
I allowed those other voices to drown out the fear and the self doubt. And I think talking about it and getting some sense like this is a thing.
mhm,
I happen to have a really supportive partner who said, you just have to try it. You won't know until you try it. And so it started with, let me just make a business plan. Let me start writing. Turn out that's not a very fun activity, but it got me going where I thought like, ooh, why don't I start to do this at the same time? And so originally I thought, I don't want to build the plane as I'm flying it. But
mm,
as I started to get excited, I thought just start tackling small pieces. And so I think I made it palpable by saying, I'll start with this business plan. Then I'm going to start with this other component. And I just started to build component on top of
mhm,
component. So I think the joint voices cheering me on, and also just I said it was okay to fail.
mhm,
This was not going to necessarily have to be the thing that supported me and my husband in this very moment. And
mhm,
so I thought I had a lot of freedom to try. So, it started as small nuggets, and then I found a business mentor to kind of walk alongside me. I found a branding person to walk alongside me. And I eventually just felt like I had a nice little parade of supporters, but I was leading it with my vision and my dream.
mhm,
So I think that's how it really came to be, is making it into smaller parts, and always knowing that I was going to make mistakes,
mhm.
but I rather make them boldly now. I feel like that's the point, is not being tentative anymore. So I think the talking about it helps cultivate that.
So you gave yourself grace to make
Yes.
mistakes, and you brought in basically partners, right?
Yes.
Not partners in the sense, but
Right.
in the sense of people that the partners that could walk alongside you to guide you.
Right. Yes. I thought it was really important to have a pool of resources.
Mhm,
And I think there's something, Jennifer, to also trusting your gut. I had one conversation with someone who, within a minute of me chatting told me all the flaws in my idea. He's like, here's all the ways this isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I got a full sentence out. And then he proceeded to survey people in the restaurant we were in to see what they thought. And it was the most deflating experience. And I walked away so angry. And then I just was also so ignited. Like, I know
Yep.
what I'm trying to do. I know my demographic, which isn't this particular gentleman. And I feel like if you allow people like that to dampen
Mm-hmm.
your experience, it can be so easy to walk away. But I just used it as fuel. I was so angry and I was so surprised
Mm-hmm.
because it was the first person that was opposition, but it also taught me a lot about how you respond. How do you respond in those moments where someone, this isn't for them, and how can that also be okay?
Right. But I just love that you took that negativity and went, yeah, I don't think so. Not here, not today, not me. But there's a saying, and it's something about 99%. I don't remember exactly what it is, but not everyone is going to agree with how we see it, but it's not how we it's how we react to it. It's 99% how we react to it.
Right.
I don't remember what the
I know
saying
what you're
is,
trying to say.
but you know what
Yeah,
I'm trying to say.
right. And I think there's something about just holding true to that part of you and your vision. And I
Hmm.
think, things will evolve. You think where it started, where it ends, it has to evolve, but the core and the through line is the same. So really holding on tight to that as I'm still being agile in other areas.
Hmm. And it comes down to your values too, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
P.S. That guy is, I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
That guy is now more on board. I will say I've worn him down because I just can't resist.
Uh, If your is your closet overflowing, or maybe your kids' closets are as well, or maybe you just want to redecorate your house. If you're wondering what to do with all that stuff that you've accumulated, bring it all to True Fashionistas or even ship it to them for free. We'll sell your unwanted items for you. We take away all the hassle by doing all the work, and all you have to do is sit back and collect your money. You can reach out to them online at truefashionistas.com. Come into the store or check them out on Facebook or Instagram, and that's truefashionistas.com. Welcome back, friends. We are in studio with Tiffany Wachtler, and we are talking about the Kindness Concierge, which is a business that she created that is spreading kindness all over the world. Could we say all over the world? You could buy it
I think
anywhere
yeah.
in the
I
world,
think
right?
we can say it all over the world. Let's do it.
Anywhere you can ship.
Yes.
So, what was the hardest part of starting your business?
The hardest part was that I couldn't focus 100% of my attention on it. I still work full time right now, and I'm a student, so I had to carve out the right amount of time and be patient. The hardest part is that I wanted to pour everything into it, but I
Hmm.
couldn't.
And I mean, your day must be crazy. What does a typical day look like in the Tiff world?
And tips world, I'm an early riser, so I'm best first thing in the morning. I
Mhm.
like to do a lot of the things that require more thoughtful or mindfulness in the morning. And then I work in a good amount of the day, and then I switch gears, and at night I do things for fun. So, school's not as fun, but I do love some of that time at learning. Learning is something I love. So yeah, I really just do a little nugget different parts of the
Mhm.
day. So mornings kind of business work, and then middle of the day is currently office work, and then evenings kind of schoolwork.
Yeah.
It sounds ridiculous when you say it out loud, but yeah,
I just love to hear how other people work just
yeah,
because it says so much. Like I know I'm an early riser just like you, up at 5 a.m. doing my thing, and that's when I get most done. That's when I'm
yeah,
most fresh. And other people, they're like, "No, I'm a night owl." I,
right,
I
right.
and it's just interesting to see the differences. What was the easiest thing about starting your business?
The easiest thing was having myself kind of be the brand or the product. The easiest thing was I know who I am and what I can
Mhm.
offer. And so that part was simple. Like I felt like I was the right person for the job, and I didn't know anyone else doing it. So I felt very empowered in that way.
Beautiful. And what words of advice would you have to soon be business owners? What would you tell them? What do you can always look back at your younger self and go, if I would have known then what I know now, what would you tell them?
Oh, I think this is such a great question, and I can imagine that I've gotten a lot of really great advice. I think really just be true to yourself, like really, really lean into who you are and why this is meaningful to you. Someone warned me once, like, don't do something that you're so passionate about because you won't love it anymore. And I don't think
Mhm.
that's true. And so I think taking something that's meaningful to you and holding on to it and just be true to yourself. And I think that will always make you proud, even as you rise and fall, knowing that you are authentic and
Mhm.
doing this from a place that's meaningful.
That's great. That's great advice. Really.
Thank you.
I wish
Thank
I'd have
you.
known that from the very beginning. Thanks so much, right? There's so much that we have
Yeah,
to learn, and sometimes
yeah,
you learn the hard way.
yeah. And we're constantly learning. We're constantly learning. And so I think there's something beautiful about that and something as a new business owner that can be very frustrating because
Mhm.
there's a lot to learn.
Yeah. And we're like you said, we're learning every day. So it's whether you've been in business again for a very long time or you've not, if you're not waking up learning something every day, then you're behind. Is kind of how I
True.
see it.
Very true.
We always have to keep learning.
And I think there's something, if I could offer one more nugget.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
I have a really great friend who always asks, like, are you gripping or holding onto something? And so I think as I have challenges, I think about, are there ways that I can just hold it without there being that tension and it's safe, or is there ways I could let it go? And I think as a business owner, there's lots of ideas that you have and a lot
Mhm.
of vision that sometimes you're gripping instead of holding. And so I think that would probably be my other little thing is as you run into challenges, just ask yourself, is it something you can let go, you can hold, or do you really need to grip onto it?
That's a great way to look at it because it gives you a visual,
Right, you
right?
can
You
just see
close
it.
your eyes. Am I gripping or am I holding on?
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Well, it has been wonderful having you on again, Tiffany, to talk
Thank
about your
you.
business journey and your business. If our friends that are listening would like to get a hold of you and perhaps like to purchase a kindness box, how do they get a hold of you?
They should visit thekindnessconcierge.com. You can see all the packages there and schedule a consultation with me if you want to have a customized experience.
Fabulous. And again, thank you so much, Tiffany.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you, friends, for joining me today and every week here on The Fashionista Life, brought to you by True Fashionistas. If you want a deeper dive, head to my website, thefashionistalife.com, to sign up for my emails where we take a deeper dive each week into topics for your small business and for you. Have a fabulous day.